Good morning, everyone. Today, in our main course class, we are going to be talking about the subject passive voice. So in English, when we create sentences, there are some certain rules for the certain order that follows in a sentence, right? For example, you say, I am a student, right? So here it always follows a subject and a verb, right? And a verb and an object or a noun, right? The most of the positive sentences follows this pattern, let's say. And as it's stated in here, when we use an active verb, we say what the subject does. Okay? First of all, what's the opposite of passive? Of course, active, right? What is active voice? My grandfather was a builder. He built this house in 1981. Okay, so he built this house in 1981. Who built this? He, right? So there is this, what's the verb here? Like, this is my subject. What's the verb here? Build, right? Build. Okay, and what did he build? This house, right? This house, right? My object. Good. And as you can see, this is an or my grandfather, right? It's the subject. My verb was. What was it? What was he? A builder, right? A noun. Okay, to describe the subject. Good. And as you can see, this active voice follows this pattern, right? Subject, verb, and object. And what the subject does. What's the key thing here? We are focusing on what the subject does here. It's a big company. It employs 200 people. Subject is at the beginning of my sentence here, right? And it does a certain verb here, and it employs what? 200 people, like this, right? Good. So when we use a passive verb, we say what happens to the subject. Now we are going to look at what happens to the subject actually. For how old is this house? It was built in 1981. So let's look at this. Let's look at the sentence, people. So what's the verb here, right? Build, right? We say the verb is built here. Okay. So what was built? It was built, right? The house. What do I mean by it? This house, right? And it was built by somebody, right? Every action has to be done by somebody, but here it isn't given to us. But again, I see a invisible by here. Okay, it was built in 1981 by, right, by people, let's say, by somebody. I don't know, right? But these somebodies aren't important, right? What is important is this house was built in 1981, right? Good. 200 people are employed by the company. Again, we see the agent by. First, now, okay, a subject is the doer of the action, right? The action here is build. So I use be plus the verb 3 here, right? The passive voice is going to be is going to be about this actually. Let me write again. Be plus verb 3, right? Was built. Now I have my object and my be plus verb 3 and the rest of my sentence, okay? And my subject is on the second plan now, by people. So people built this, right, house in 1981, if I wanted to say this in active voice. But in passive voice, it was built in 1981. 200 people are employed by the company. Again, what's the verb here? Employ, right? But here we see the passive voice used here. What is that? Be plus verb 3, right? Are employed. So, who does this action and who receives this action? That's the question actually. Okay, the company, right? As we know, after by tells us who does this action, who performs this action, right? Good. By the company. This is my subject actually, and this company employs people, right? 200 people. And who are employed? 200 people, right? My object actually. As you can see, my object becomes the attention, the focus of this sentence, okay? And it's and after my object, I have my be plus verb 3, right? Be plus verb 3, which is so my subject is referred as what? They, right? 200 people, they are plural, so I tell them they. So they are, right? So this be becomes what? Changes with each object or subject here, okay? So emizar. So they are employed by the company, we say. Good. Let's move on from here. Let's go. Okay. So again, let's look at these examples. This house was built in 1981. This house was built is passive, right? Passive. So if we are to compare these two sentences, right? Somebody built this house in 1981. Active. The reason, because my subject can be is at the beginning of the sentence, and after that a verb, right? Without emizar, without be follows. So, for example, I run is an active or somebody built, right? Anything at all. Ayşe sees, right? So this is active voice we are talking about. And after that an object, right? Somebody built this house in 1981. My object, this house, right? And what happens to this house? It gets built, right? So a subject affects my the object receives the action here, right? Good. This house was built in 1981. Passive. Now my object, what was once my object, now is subject, right? This house was built, and as I said before, I have a specific rule for doing the passive voice. What was it? Be plus verb 3, right? And be is emizar, I said, right? And for each tense, this be can change, right? In present simple tense, it's am is are, but again, this build, right, comes from the word build, right, which is the infinitive version of this word. Build it's the past in its past version, built, right? So I need to make this be also in the past, so was built, I say. Good. Let's move on. Okay. When we use the passive, who or what caused the action is often unknown or unimportant. We talked about this, right? A lot of money was stolen in the robbery. Somebody stole it, but we don't know who, right? That's the thing here actually. The doer of this action is not known or not important. What is important? This money was stolen, right? It got stolen. Good. Is this room cleaned every day? Does somebody clean it? It's not important who, right? Is this room cleaned every day? Right? We are not asking who cleans this room, or right? What is important is this room cleaned every day? Good. If you want to say who does or what causes the action, we use by. Again, you have option, right? If you want to talk about who performs this action, we use by. This house was built by my grandfather, right? This is my, right now, the doer of the action is grandfather, right? My grandfather does this action, right? Builds this house actually. But again, if I want to talk about the main thing here, then I have to bring my object to the beginning of my sentence, right? This house, right? What did my grandfather did? This house, object, right? And and my what? Be plus verb 3, which is what in the past tense was plus verb 3, was built, right? Good. 200 people are employed by the company. We talked about this. Let's move on. So present simple, again we see this same thing here. In the active voice we have the single verb, but in the passive voice am is are and the verb 3, right? For example, clean become cleaned, right? Good. Let's move on from here. And in past simple, again we talked about this, right? In active voice, cleaned, right? I cleaned the house, right? I cleaned the house, for example. If you use passive voice, the house, right? The object, the house was cleaned, right? By me, for example. But again, I have was verb and I have verb 3 here. We were woken up by a loud noise, right? Examples are, or somebody cleaned this room yesterday. This room was cleaned yesterday, right? It always follows this actually. All right, so let's do some exercises together in order to better understand this subject. Complete the sentences. Use these verbs in the correct form, present or past. Good. Make, destroy, watch, invite, find, hold. Many accidents, what? Many accidents are caused by careless driving, right? Are caused by careless driving. I'm giving you the first example. Many accidents are caused by careless driving. Cheese, so cheese from milk, right? Make is made from milk. Cheese is made from milk. The roof of the building in a storm a few days ago, right, was destroyed in a storm a few days ago. A cinema is a place where films, what do we do with the films? Are watched, right, are watched here. So you to the party. Why didn't you go? You were invited. Sorry, this gets a bit wrong here. We were invited to the party. Why didn't you go? This plant is very rare. It is found, right? It is found in very few places. It is found in very few places, right? You can find it in very few places. Instead of saying this, it is found, right? Passive voice. In the US, elections for presidents, what? Hold, right? Are held. So, again, as you see, we have emizar and the verb 3. Emizar and the verb 3. My object, cheese is made from milk, right? But somebody has to produce the cheese, right? Somebody has to do this cheese. But is it important who does make the cheese? No. What is important is the cheese is made from milk actually, not the performer or the doer of the action, right? Good. So again, 200, put the verb into the correct form, present or past, active or passive. Good. 200 people by the company. What can we say here? 200 people. So, by the company. I have my by here. So, I need to use the passive voice, which is are employed. Okay? Are employed by the company. the company, okay, 200 people. What's this? The company employs, right? Employs. Let me write like this. Employs 200 people. Water most of the Earth's surface. Good. Covers, right? Covers most of the Earth's surface. Why am I using here? The company employs 200 people because I have this subject right in front of me at the beginning, right? So the company are employed? No, right? Good. Water covers, right? Water does this action. So covers, I say, covers, okay? How much of the Earth's surface now by water? I have my by here. So what do I need? I need the passive voice, which is covered, okay? Is covered. While I was on holiday, my camera from my hotel room, again, do we know this doer of this action? No. So I need to use what? Passive voice. So my camera was stolen, I say. While I was on holiday, my camera now from my hotel room. Now this disappear. This can done by camera, and I can use the active voice here, right? This is the action that camera does actually. So my camera disappears, right? Disappears, or my camera disappeared. Sorry, disappeared from my hotel room while I was on holiday. In past simple, right? Good. Robert's parents when he was very young. So parents, do they receive an action? No, right? So dying is what they do, right? Actually, good. Robert's parents died, right? Died when he was very young. Robert and his sisters bring up by their grandparents. So bring up the word. What's the word? So we need to use the passive voice here. So I need to make this verb into what? Into the verb 3 version. So brought up, right? Brought up, okay, by their were brought up, sorry, were brought up. Why were brought up? Because the passive voice, right? Be plus verb 3, this is were brought up. Good. So okay, let's move on. So this is our last exercise together. So let's do this. Instead of using somebody, they, people, write a passive sentence. Somebody cleans the room every day. So again, what do I need to do? I need to first find my subject and the object, right? So somebody cleans the room every day. What's the object? The room, right? What is being done? They clean the room. So the room, actually, let me see. So yes, the room is cleaned every day, right? The room is cleaned every day. They cancelled all flights because of fog. All flights were cancelled, I say. Somebody accused me of stealing money. I was accused of stealing money. Why? This me, right, is the object of this sentence actually. So who is the subject? Sorry, who is this? Who is the subject here? I, right? I was accused of stealing money. So this is, as you can see, the object becomes the subject here, right? Object is me. Here somebody is the subject. So subject becomes agent, right? By somebody actually. How do you use this word? How is this word used? The price includes all taxes, all in the price. So as you can see, the price includes all taxes. Includes what? All taxes, right? So object. All taxes are included, right? Includes, I have my verb here, and it became M is R plus verb 3, right? Are included. People warned us not to go out alone. We were warned not to go out alone is the correct answer. So again, what are we doing here? I need to find in order to understand passive voice, we need to understand who does the action of the sentence actually. Okay, if for example I am giving you the pen and the pen is given to you, right? So this is about the relationship between the action, doer of the action, and the object of the action, right? So again, let's look at this example. For example, they cancelled all flights because of fog. All flights, right? My object. Who cancelled? They. All flights were cancelled. You can say this sentence like this too. By who? By them, for example. So this concludes our lesson, okay? And I wish you a good day.